There we go. So my name is Stacy Fonseca, and I'm the counselor for New Jersey and the Director of Enrollment Management at UT. And what I'm going to do is we're going to start off with a quick video on UT. We're going to have a campus tour, virtual campus tour. And then I'll let Emily and Kevin introduce themselves. We'll go through any questions that they might have. I'll do a brief presentation. And then we'll do a student panel, let Kevin and Emily answer any questions that anybody has. And I'll jump in, of course, if you have any questions for me. And then we'll wrap everything up. So we're going to start off with a video. And let me make sure I'm sharing the right screen. And we'll go ahead and get started.
Just another ordinary day at UT.
Welcome to the University of Tampa. My name is Tucker Whitman and I'm a junior marketing major here at UT. Today we're going to look at some of the highlights of our beautiful Riverside campus here in downtown Tampa. We'll start at Plan Hall. This historic building was opened in 1891 as the Tampa Bay Hotel and now serves as the main academic building here at UT, with 4 floors of classrooms as well as faculty and administrative offices. Next up, the Vaughn Center, the hub of campus life and activities. This multi-purpose building includes the campus bookstore, our primary cafeteria plus an additional food court, a theater, as well as offices and meeting rooms for student organizations. The Vaughn Center is also one of UT's residence halls, providing 5 floors of student rooms. Morsani Hall is another residence hall here at UT. In addition to housing approximately 450 students, this building offers another selection of eateries as well as a small grocery store. Now let's check out the Sykes College of Business. This academic building houses classrooms and faculty offices for UT's undergrad and graduate business students. This building also has a real-time stock trading room. Right next door is the Sykes Chapel for Faith and Baptist. This gorgeous interfaith chapel features a large main hall complete with a massive pipe organ, as well as meditation rooms and meeting rooms. Student healthcare is a major priority for us here at UT. The Dickey Health and Wellness Center is accessible to all students and provides high-quality services including basic medical care, counseling, and wellness programs. On the east side of campus, you'll find the McDonald-Kelsey Library. Here, students can learn from a large collection of books, periodicals, and digital databases. They can also take advantage of our numerous study rooms and computers. The Academic Success Center is another great resource for students. This is your one-stop shop for academic advising, coaching, and tutoring services. Whether you're a seasoned athlete or just want to shoot some hoops, the athletic facilities here at UT are hard to beat. The Bob Martinez Athletic Center includes a large gymnasium, a weight room, and training facilities. In addition, the campus features an aquatic center open year-round, 6 tennis courts, baseball and softball fields, a 1,500-seat stadium, as well as a lacrosse field and intramural complex. Need a break from studying? Head to Falk Theater and catch a play. This 1,000-seat historic theater serves as a home for all major performances made by UT's Department of Speech, Theater and Dance, as well as special guests. This is one of UT's newest facilities, the Innovation and Collaboration Building. Here you will find UT's very own Starbucks. In addition, classrooms, cybersecurity labs, study lounges, and the Loth Entrepreneurship Center, designed for student entrepreneurs to launch their startups. Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video tour of UT, we'd love to give you one in person. For more information or to schedule a campus visit, go to ut.edu.
Okay. So,
Welcome to the University of Tampa. My name is Victoria, and
here
I'm
I
a
go
junior
with my
studying
challenges.
communications. Today we're going to be visiting some of my favorite off-campus spots that make the Tampa Bay area special. A short walk.
I knew I'd figure it out eventually. So now I'm going to do just a brief presentation on the university. I'm not sure, are you able to see that screen? It says the University of Tampa. Great. So just to give you an idea, for those of you who may or may not know exactly where we're located, we are in the Tampa Bay area, which includes Tampa, Clearwater, and St. Pete. And there are many opportunities there because you have three pretty big cities, and so plenty of internship opportunities. But here, this kind of shows you specifically where we are in comparison to Clearwater and then St. Pete, which is down here, and also really popular beach areas. You can see from where these umbrellas are located, the 6-foot social distancing hadn't quite taken effect yet, as with those videos. So in addition to the beautiful beaches, a lot of people think that's what draws people to the University of Tampa, and that's not quite the case. There are a ton of things to do in the Tampa Bay area, but it's really the internship opportunities that draw people to UT. And we are located just 1 block from downtown. This is the historic kind of what used to be the main building, and over years has become really more of our administrative buildings. And you can see this is the Hillsborough River. Our students come from all over the world to UT, and we make the joke of from Massachusetts to Madagascar. But literally, we have about 1/3 of our students from the state of Florida, 1/3 of our students are from the Northeast, the other third is from all 50 states, and about 142 countries. Our student joining us, one of them today, is from Mozambique. So just to give you a little sample, that's Kevin. So our students, just to kind of give you an idea, they enjoy being right next to downtown Tampa. They're extremely active. But one of the things that we find is that they're extremely independent. And so at this time of the year, students who are considering coming to UT and, you know, when they start to get the jitters, we start talking to them about, is this really right for you? And if a student is really apprehensive about coming to UT, we say to them, you know, don't be afraid to take a year and go someplace that's a little bit closer to home and then transfer to UT. So to give you a little bit of a better idea of what you can expect when you arrive at UT, our average class size is right around 22 students. Our largest class holds 52 students on campus. We only have about 4% of our students that have 40 or more students. And I expect that this year it'll be even less because of social distancing. We're going to have to reduce those classes. The faculty to student ratio is 1:17. And again, that'll be going down because of social distancing. One of the things at UT is that we don't have teaching assistants. Our classes are all taught by faculty, and 90% of the faculty have a PhD or the highest degree available in their field. And for many of the different majors, we have accreditations that are the highest accreditations in those areas. Some of them don't have special accreditations available for that particular field. But for example, in the College of Business, the AACSB accreditation, that's extremely important because when you go on to graduate school, many of the graduate schools will require that you've attended an undergraduate school with that accreditation. So something else to look for is the chemistry accreditation. We're a fully accredited forensic science program. So these are things that you want to look for. We're also on the coalition application. And this is, you know, an application that represents several schools that are Ivy League, that graduate students in the smallest amount of debt. So we do accept the coalition app, we accept the Common App, and we have our own application available. So if you're wondering which type of application, the nice thing about the Coalition app is that you can start it, early on, sophomore year. All of our students are required to take something called the baccalaureate experience, but I know up north it's probably more commonly known as your core curriculum. And it's basically making sure that regardless of your major, that you're receiving a well-rounded education. So if you're a science major, you're still going to take social sciences, or you're still going to take fine arts. But basically, we want to make sure that regardless of what you're majoring in, that you have a sampling of all of the different areas to experience. And so this year, we realized that many of students going into their senior year will not have an opportunity to take the SAT or ACT. And so because of that, we are going to be a test optional school next year. Now that could change if you're a sophomore or junior that's tuning in this evening. That could change for upcoming years. But for students that are going into their senior year and going to be doing applications in the fall, we will be test optional. So what we're going to be looking at in your application is what you have taken in your freshman, sophomore, and junior year. And we're going to be looking at your unweighted GPA. When a student applies to the university, when we review your application, we're first going to be looking to see, do you meet the admissions criteria? But we'll also be reviewing your application to see if you meet the honors criteria. And also at the time of acceptance, we'll look to see if you meet the criteria for scholarships. So these are not things that you have to apply separately for. We'll look to see, do you meet admissions criteria, merit-based scholarship criteria, as well as honors criteria. So no separate applications unless you're applying for a departmental scholarship, which might be a scholarship in the areas of music, political science, pre-law, biological and life sciences, or performing arts. Those are the only scholarships that you would need to apply separately for. And we have over 200 different areas of study. So some students have always known what they wanted to major in. Other students are not so sure. And it's really nice to go to a university with several different majors available, because it gives you a few different areas that maybe if you have it narrowed down to 3 majors or 5 majors, that you can kind of explore those different areas. So with 200 different majors to explore, hopefully we'll have the one you're looking for. And again, I mentioned that we're located just 1 block from downtown, so you'll have an opportunity to learn by doing, and not just in your internships, but hands-on experience on campus. So our campus is very modern. There's plenty of lab opportunities and just opportunities to, whether if you're a cybersecurity major, plenty of computer labs. In this one picture, we have a Shark Tank kind of environment for students going into entrepreneurship. The big circular tubes that you see, those are think tanks. So lots of opportunities to kind of have that hands-on experience. Here you can see our marine science facility up here. We have wet labs, dry labs, 4 research vessels at the marine science facility, as well as one out in the Gulf of Mexico. We have nursing labs on campus as well as at Tampa General Hospital. We also have clinical experiences at the Veterans Hospital, Moffitt Cancer Center, as well as other hospitals, St. Joseph's. So students will have several different rotations to experience. And then we have our Graduate in Health Studies building. And again, that's where your nursing lab is. We do now offer a PA program, which is a 27-month program. And students that are interested in a PA program will typically go into one of the health sciences, but allied health sciences is typically the best track to go into as an undergraduate student. So if you're interested in pursuing a degree in PA, we do recommend the allied health sciences because it will meet the majority of the requirements for that graduate program. And again, keeping in line with that hands-on experience, we have the Zenga Trading Center where you can do real-time trading. You can also see WUTZ, which is our student radio station. We also have a TV station, WUTV, and we also have a Fab Lab. And there are very few universities that have Fab Labs on campus. And actually, we just printed up face shields for COVID-19 protection in that lab. And then we have the Furman Center for the Arts that just opened in the fall of 2020. 90,000 square feet building. And this is primarily for the performing arts, musical theater, black box theater. So our communication and musical theater students are enjoying that new facility. And keeping in line with those internships, our students can enjoy internships in the US, but also while they're studying abroad. This particular fall, we do not have students studying abroad for the obvious reasons. However, our students have enjoyed it. And I do think that going to school with students from all over the world makes our students a little more inclined to travel abroad. They go to school with students from all over the world, and they're just not afraid to spread their wings and get out there and see what else is available. So we have study abroad, and we also offer something called travel abroad. And travel abroad is a little bit different. Study abroad is typically 15 to 17 weeks, where you would study in another country at another university for the entire semester. Whereas travel abroad is where you'll go to school for the entire semester at UT, and then at the end of the semester, you would travel abroad for typically a week or two in another country. So it's not the entire semester. And so now we're going to move into what is it like to live in Tampa and on our campus. So this is where you can actually see our residence halls and some of the different eateries. We do have one of the largest Starbucks on our campus in the South. This is a typical residence hall. This is in Morsani Hall, and there's our Starbucks. So first-year students are prioritized if they meet the May 1st deadline to live on campus. But again, you must meet that May 1st deadline, and any deposits received prior to May 1st are fully refundable. And our housing is assigned based on the order in which they are received. Now, we don't allow students in their first year to have a vehicle. However, we do have zip car rentals available. And it's really easy to get around downtown Tampa because it is such a small city. There's a water taxi, there's bike rentals, and Kevin's favorite, the scooter rentals. So he's had no problem getting around downtown. And then here's just a few of our residence halls. And again, I just want to point out that housing is not guaranteed after your first year. But many of our upperclassmen have chosen to move off campus anyway. But the residence halls are quite spacious. They're beautiful. There's housekeeping that comes in to clean your residence halls. But I don't think every college campus can offer you the opportunity to live on the water. So these are really nice residence halls. And as you can see from these pictures, quite spacious. This here is a double. And this particular double is in McKay Hall, which is another residence hall that's also located right on the water. And we don't have any community bathrooms, which is also another nice feature. And then over here, you can see another upperclassman, typically upperclassman. We typically would not have freshmen here. This is a Barrymore Hotel. It's located about 4 blocks from campus. And we do offer shuttle service back and forth to campus. But again, it's only about 4 blocks from campus, and it's usually pretty nice weather in Tampa, so most of our students don't mind the walk. We do have campus safety, and after hours, they also use golf carts that our students run just to get you around campus. So if you are in one particular building, you want to get to the other side of campus, you can also request a golf cart just to drive you from one side of campus to the other. We also have text alerts that you can use, well, that you'll be using, and you can get text alerts if there's any sort of emergency on campus, you would receive an alert. Now, we love to stay fit in Tampa, so we have this beautiful new fitness center where they offer everything from CrossFit classes to free weights. This looks like a kickboxing class here. You can also sign up for personal training classes. You can get nutrition classes, but plenty of opportunities to stay fit. And of course, you can always go outside and just work out. They have spin classes, free weight classes, yoga, just about anything you want to stay fit. And of course, that beautiful swimming pool. And most of the time it's open unless you want to go for a swim at 6 in the morning, and then our swim team is using the pool. We also have Division II athletics, and we're in the Sunshine State Conference. Lots and lots of national championships, 18 national championships. I think we are the most winning D2 baseball team in the history of Division II, so we're very proud of that. And I always tell students, we also have intramural sports available. So if you enjoy playing a particular sport, you know, there's always club. So keep that in mind. And if you decide that you don't want to play at the college level, just come out and support our teams. We've got beautiful facilities. So in regards to the application deadline, I understand that people are eager, but don't be over eager, because those scholarships are going to be based on your grades at the time of acceptance. So the first application deadline is November 15th, and you will get your decision by December 15th. And any application completed by January 15th will receive a decision by February 15th. I really don't recommend going beyond those 2 dates, simply because we do start our wait list usually around the middle of January. So try to get your application in, if not by the early action 1 deadline, by the early action 2 deadline. Because after that, once we're in regular decision 2, we have typically started our wait list. We also do our admitted student receptions in February, and you'll want to be sure to attend those, because those are actually in your hometowns. And then for freshmen, your official high school transcript, an essay, and a recommendation letter will be required. If you have SAT scores, feel free to submit those, but those will not be required for this year. If you're considering transferring, we require your official college transcripts. And if you don't have your associate's degree, we'll also require your high school transcript and SAT or ACT scores if you have less than 17 college transcripts completed when you submit your application. And so now we're going to talk a little bit about financial aid. Our total cost for tuition, room, board, and fees is right around $42,500. And so 97% of our students do receive some sort of financial aid. And I would encourage you to use our net price calculator, but I would encourage you also to wait until about the middle of September, because we won't have the new numbers from the federal government that determine your need-based financial aid until around the end of August. And by the time we get that up, it'll be right around the middle of September. So just be a little bit patient with us while we get that updated. But if you go on around the middle of September, we'll be able to provide you with a pretty good estimate. And so freshman scholarships range between $4,000 and $16,000. And again, this is something that we're updating, because in previous years, this has always been a combination, your scholarship and merit money, based on both your GPA and your test scores. However, this year it's going to be based just on your GPA. So typically, if you're between a 3.0 and a 4.0, you're going to get between $4,000 and $16,000. But this year, we think we're going to bump that amount up to $18,000, because we understand the huge financial strain that COVID-19 has put on so many families. So this year, if you're around a 4.0 unweighted, you're probably going to get $18,000 in merit-based funding. If you're around a 3.6, you'll probably get around $13,000. And if you're around a 3.2, you'll probably get $8,000 a year. So that's just to give you an idea in what you can expect in merit-based funding from the UT. That does not include need-based financial aid from the federal government. And you want to submit that application, which is the free application for federal student aid or the FAFSA, around October 1st. But the ultimate goal is to have you graduate within 4 years. And that is another way that you can reduce your cost. So it's important that 95.7% of our students are graduating within 4 years or less. So other ways that you can reduce your cost are doing something like an ROTC program. And if you do an ROTC program, you can actually get your tuition paid for by the federal government because you're doing ROTC, and the University of Tampa actually picks up your room and board. Now, you will owe the government a few years of your life after you graduate, so keep that in mind, but that's one way that you could finance your education. It's also a great way to build leadership skills while you're in school. And we are a military-friendly school, so if you have yellow ribbon benefits or the GI Bill, don't be afraid to bring that up because we want to apply those benefits to your financial aid. And if you're interested in learning more about the University of Tampa, you can always contact me. You can email me at sfonseca@ut.edu, or you can look us up on any of these social media outlets. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we're going to go back, and we've got Emily and Kevin, and I'm going to ask them to make themselves available in case anybody has any questions for either of the three of us. We are available.
Hi guys, so we're just going to introduce ourselves real quick. So I am Kevin. I am a graduating senior at the University of Tampa, just completing an online class before I transition to real life. And I've been studying international business and finance my 4 years at Tampa. I'm originally from Mozambique, Southern Africa. And some of the things I've been involved in outside of the classroom include student government, being a student ambassador as well, club sport council, as well as club soccer co-president. So those are some of the extracurriculars that were a real big part of my experience at UT.
Hi guys, my name is Emily. I am going to be a senior in the fall, hopefully graduating spring 2021. I am an advertising and public relations major, and some of the things that I was involved in that really helped me, I guess, throughout my soon-to-be 4 years was Greek life was a big thing. And I'm also in It's Pause for a Cause, which works with the Tampa Bay Humane Society and like helping animals and stuff like that. So.
Okay, so basically we're just gonna read off the questions that have been coming in on the chat. Some of them are kind of more counselor-based. Stacey will take those, and the ones that are more student-based will gladly take. So there was an earlier question: is the application you use to apply to hire a lawyer, application you use going to increase your chances of getting in, like which application you use? Does that influence? No, it doesn't. As we stated before, you can use whichever one is most convenient for you. And then Stacey, it's probably more for you. Are SAT scores used for scholarships like the presidential one? Stacey? She muted herself. Obviously, technically, there we go.
I'm off of mute.
There you go. So yeah,
Okay.
are SAT scores used for scholarships like the presidential one?
SAT scores will no longer be used for any scholarships. It will strictly be based on unweighted scholarship or unweighted GPA.
Okay, thank you. And then next question, kind of related, are the merit scholarships for all 4 years? Can you speak about the services you provide for students with learning differences?
So are we doing these in order, Kev? Because let me just try and let me hit these in order. Is the application you use to apply higher or lower your chances of getting in? And it does not. It doesn't matter which application you use, you just pick one. Sometimes students will start one application, not be happy with that application and start another one. that can be challenging for us, combining applications. So I would encourage you to pick one application and stick with that type of application. I think Emily answered that one. Our SAT scores used for scholarships, we answered that one. And then, are the merit scholarships for all 4 years? Typically, yes, unless your GPA. So for example, if you have a presidential scholarship, you must maintain a 3.2. If you have a merit-based scholarship, you must maintain a 2.8. And then I see another question that says, how is your nursing program compared to other schools? We are actually ranked #1 in the nation based on the NCLEX exams. The NCLEX exam is a national exam that you are required to take when you graduate from any nursing program. And if you just do a simple Google search for each state on NCLEX exam results, you will find the percentage of students passing that exam for each state from each university on their first try. And the University of Tampa has 100% on their first try, which is pretty unusual. So moving on to the next, what types of extra help are there? If you remember when I showed you the virtual tour at the Academic Success Center, so we offer 2 types of help, one being group tutoring and then one-on-one tutoring. So there is tutoring available, in both ways. But I also would suggest going to your professor. All professors are required to have office hours, to go and speak with your professor. That's one of the advantages of going to a medium-sized university, is that when you're having difficulty, you can go up to them after class, or you can book office hours with that professor. So that is one of the benefits of a medium-sized university. I apologize, I have a new puppy here, so sometimes she wants to get in on the presentation. Also, if you do currently have a learning difference or any documentation, you would also go to the Academic Success Center, and you can document your learning difference, and we can provide any services that you're currently receiving. Or if it's a new service that's required, we're going to make sure that you have all of the tools that you need to succeed. And then, Emily, I see there's a question here. Can you talk about Greek life?
I would say Greek life is a great way to get involved within our campus. There are other ways as well to get involved, like other clubs I know that we do offer. Is there like anything specific like about Greek life kind of that you want me to, I guess, talk about? Because I don't really know.
I mean, from our experience, some of the years we've been there, it's kind of like best of both worlds. Me personally, I haven't been in Greek life, but I think about 20%, 25% of our students are in the Greek life organization. So it's like 1 in 4 students basically. And as she said, it is a good way to get involved if you're really interested in the whole Greek life culture. Myself, I'm not sure about Emily, like I haven't been involved in it, was involved in other stuff, but you definitely feel the presence on campus. There's a good relationship amongst them and other clubs and organizations too. And there aren't any Greek life houses on campus, so that doesn't really make that too prominent on campus as well. But obviously, if you meet brothers or sisters that you really like at some point later on in your UT life, you can live off campus with them. So that's just a bit of what Greek life is like. Stacey, I think this one is more suited for you. Can you give a breakout of schools within UT and percentage of students in each school?
Yes. So percentage in each school, I'm not sure that I would be able to give you accurate numbers on that. So that's something I would have to get from the registrar. But definitely our largest is natural health and sciences. And I do know for a fact that natural health and sciences and College of Business are almost equal in the 2 largest. And then our College of Arts and Letters and College of Social Science, Math, and Education are almost identical as well, and those are slightly smaller than the College of Business and Natural Health and Sciences. But College of Business and Natural Health and Sciences, are typically the two largest, but almost equal to each other. And the last 2 years, finance has been the largest major.
That's me. So next question was, what percentage of students live on campus?
So last year it was 68% of our students live on campus.
And from our experience, I did my first 2 years on campus, freshman and sophomore year. Definitely was a good experience. Definitely was needed in terms of like adjusting to life here and culture here. And then typically students in their junior year seek to move off campus, and there's a lot of availability in the Tampa area for students too.
So there was a question about our PA program, and it is a 27-month PA program. That program is in the graduate program. It's a DNP program. Just looking to see if there are any new questions popping up. I think that's all of them. I think that's everything. Any other questions?
You were so thorough, Stacey. I knew one just popped in though. Can you give
I'm just enjoying looking at Stacy. Let us read the questions for you.
Can you
Because
give
Kevin
an
knows I can barely
ACT?
see.
Yeah. Can you give an ACT, SAT range from your past years, even though no testing this year? I assume that would be pretty relevant for people in future years that might still
Sure.
need testing.
So last year, the average ACT was a 24. Average SAT was between 1190, 1200. And for the honors program, 28 and 1250.
So another question was, how many students get internships after finishing school? So as Stacey mentioned earlier, students typically get those internships while we're at UT. I myself have certainly made use of that. So many of them are in close proximity to campus, literally walking distance. Campus is walking distance to where I live right now, as well as to where my internship was in downtown. So a lot of students benefit from that whilst they're here. You can pretty much get that anytime in your 4 years here. Typically, it will happen in your sophomore, junior years. But yeah, typically you get those internships during your time here at UT, whether it be during fall and spring or in the summer, so that after you finish, you're actually getting those full-time jobs. That's just typically kind of the way we think in terms of all the practical experience that we get.
Kevin, are you comfortable talking about your internship? And Kevin actually had a job after graduation.
Yeah, so my internship was certainly a surprise for me because I'm a finance major, but it was primarily in the industry of recruiting. I was probably put on site because of my admissions job, kind of getting to speak with prospective students, stuff like that. So I was kind of sourced for that opportunity. It was during the fall of 2019. It was my first ever internship experience. It was in the huge Sykes building that you might have seen in the slides. So again, right next to campus. So obviously very scenic. It was on the 30th floor. So it was definitely an aesthetically pleasing experience to be there. And then in terms of the work, it was definitely challenging for the first time being in a corporate environment like that. Definitely different in certain ways to a classroom, but there were certainly a lot of aspects from UT's classrooms that were certainly transferable to my experience in the internship. So learning how to talk to people who were completely different parts of the world. For me, you know, having different skill sets than other people, so it helped me leave a pretty good rapport with the people there. And because I'm an international student, I had to do the internship for credit. So I kind of had to have more of a hands-on close evaluation throughout my 3 months there, which was fun for sure. Keeping on top of my game every day. Doing Stacy certainly helped me out with my outfits for my internship. That was definitely super helpful, with the whole professionalism thing. Because, you get used to going to classrooms in sweatpants and flip-flops and stuff. And obviously it's very different when you get into the corporate environment. So yeah, it definitely was a big learning curve. And as she mentioned, I did actually leave a good enough report to get offered a position for this summer now, but COVID-19 happened. So that kind of made it a little bit more difficult, obviously, with hiring freezes and everything going on. But just from that one experience that I had, and it was in my senior year, senior year. Yeah, it was in my senior year, so it was already kind of laid on. But that one experience was extremely valuable in terms of all of the opportunities that opened up for me afterwards.
So there are a few more questions.
It's your favorite. Can you give us the 3 words that describe the average UT student? What's what? Independent, active, and metropolitan, I think. That's it. Are those it?
That's it.
Okay, yeah.
I think independent is probably the key word there. Independent and active. And I would say really important is open to diversity is really important. They're usually very excited about going to school with international students. That's usually very important to our students.
Yeah, and to me personally, coming from 8,000 miles away, the fact that UT promotes its diversity like that is a huge influence as to why I came from so far. Definitely didn't regret it. Okay, so where do students typically matriculate after graduation in terms of region? And can you list some outcomes of who are some companies that recruit, on-campus recruiting, or what help does UT provide? Loaded question. In a nutshell, the biggest bridge is certainly the career services that Stacy mentioned in the presentation earlier. The statistic was there earlier that typically like 61% of our students stay within the Florida area after graduation. So that's in terms of region. In terms of companies, certainly a wide range. It just depends on what your major was. So for my finance, a lot of the big names, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, that have offices here, certainly recruit students actively throughout the year. I think it remains to be seen how things will look this coming year, but on-campus recruiting events were very common, typically hosted by career services to kind of bring
Raymond James, typically. Raymond James, Citi, SAP. In the sciences, we've had Pfizer. I'm trying to think. Yeah, Verizon. Verizon's always very popular. And it's not Verizon, the telephone company. It's more of their management. Certainly Tampa General. So for our nurses, they actively recruit students. And then in terms of our students that are going on to medical school, we have 2 students in Johns Hopkins right now, another one University of Wisconsin, another one at Duke right now, 2 at Harvard Law right now. So wide array of outcomes. And I would tell students that if you are interested in seeing for specific majors outcomes, if you go to our website, ut.edu, click on the individual majors. The individual majors list outcomes and what our students are either where they're working or where they are for graduate school.
In terms of how UT helps, a big help, especially now in COVID, because of career services, people like myself and Emily are always put on job boards, such as, Workday, Handshake, and stuff like that. What was the other one? Way Up is another really useful one. And those platforms actually enable companies to reach us directly. So we don't actually have to send out an application initially. they actually get to see kind of what our profiles look like, you know, from just hopping on those websites. Okay, how many, question was, do you have, what happened to the nursing cohort question?
So 75 students are admitted per year. UT students that start in the program, because you enter in a pre-nursing program, UT students are given preferential treatment because they have started the first year. And to be a competitive applicant, because you do the first year and you'll apply in your sophomore year to the actual nursing program, you must have at least a 3.4 to be a strong candidate for the actual nursing program when you apply in your first semester sophomore year.
Okay, do you have a pre-dental track?
Yes.
Emily and Kevin, do you want to, I don't know if you said this already, but going over what other schools you were looking at and why you chose University of Tampa?
Sure. Go for him.
You want me to go first, Kev?
Yeah.
Okay. Being that I'm originally from New Jersey and I moved to Florida when I was 12, I decided I wanted to stay in Florida just because I like the sun. I didn't want to go back up north or anything like that. So I looked at USF, UCF, FSU, and UF actually. And I didn't really know that the University of Tampa was actually, like, Tampa even had a college, if I'm being quite honest. My dad actually found it one day. He was looking through, I guess, different schools, and it came up, and we came and we toured, and I just absolutely fell in love with the school. I loved how not super overwhelming it would be like a normal state college and how big it is, and being that it was a lot smaller, it just felt more comforting and more homier. And I really appreciated how small the class sizes are, because I love having that one-on-one with your professor and really getting to know all your peers around you and who you're working with. So just the whole environment of UT was really something that I was looking for in a college, and I just knew, like, that's where I wanted to go for my next 4 years of school.
Yeah, funny enough, very, very similar for me. I definitely didn't get the chance to tour just because it was so far geographically, but it was a case where I didn't even know Tampa existed as a city, to be honest, before I started my application process. I really just stumbled upon it through the Common App. That was the primary way I was doing it, because I was doing it independently. And so I kind of needed the most one access to all portal that I could get. Common App provided that for me. So I think I ended up whittling it down to my favorite options were probably McAllister, Oberlin, Northwestern, Northeastern, University of Miami. I'd probably say those 5 were the most intriguing for me. I definitely had a couple offers from them. However, all of those were kind of based on recommendations from friends and family who had either previously attended that, were currently there, things like that, because I went to boarding school and most of my friends ended up going to colleges in the United States. So I kind of had some sort of experience from their stories of what their time there was like. And I definitely kind of preferred the allure of the warm weather here in Tampa, just because it's much more similar to how it is in Mozambique. So that's kind of how Tampa happened. I did the early action, and that was probably a huge factor in what swayed me, because I got an early response. And I was like, well, it's pretty going to be hard to dissuade me from going to Tampa at this point, just because by January I had kind of decided that's where I wanted to go. I didn't know anybody here, just kind of went on a whim. And honestly, 4 years later is the best decision I made for myself, kind of just being able to start somewhere new.
Great. Well, thank you. Do we have any more questions? Stacy, someone asked about, could you clarify the difference between the criteria for the merit scholarships and the presidential scholarship? How many presidential scholarships are given?
There isn't a specific number that's given from year to year. We don't have a set number. And so if you meet the criteria, you will be offered the scholarship. I will say this, that we just became test optional, I want to say on Monday or Tuesday. So I think that we probably have to iron out a few kinks and better define the criteria. And so the criteria that I mentioned, you know, we're still working that out, and the exact amounts. And so, you know, stay tuned, watch the website. This is all new to us. I think the future is going to be it's going to hold a lot of ifs. And I think the one great thing that has come out of all of this is we've all become very flexible and a little more patient. And I think that's good.
Yeah, Stacy needed that.
Thank you, Kev.
Stacy, you're the best. Thanks, guys. Stacy's a good one. So if everything does get back to normal, hopefully sooner rather than later, although who knows. And if you have the chance to meet Stacy in person, she's the best. I don't know when you're going back up to New Jersey. Probably not for 2020, but
I'm coming up there. I'm coming.
Good. Thank you, guys. And I've personally been to Tampa twice. So it's such a great school in such a cool city, and up and upcoming city. I think it's already coming. It's already here. So can't really say that anymore. But if anyone's listening and you're a Yankees fan, I know spring training usually in Tampa. So a lot of cool, like you got that New York vibe a bit. You don't feel like you're in such a foreign land, but with all the diversity that comes with Tampa, so many opportunities and year-round sunshine, which doesn't suck. Any final remarks? Anyone?
Really, thank you all for your time.
Thank you for spending an hour with us this evening.
Yeah. Thanks for taking your time. I know that not as many people showed up that signed up, but I do know that a lot of people have asked for the recording, so we will offer this to them. And it's been great since I know Tampa is such a popular school with my students. I don't know, I know you guys like went over the costs and everything, but it's people that don't know about all the different costs. It's a cheap private school, or affordable, I should say.
We're affordable. We're not cheap.
No, that's why I corrected myself.
So we're inexpensive.
Inexpensive, affordable. Cheap has a negative connotation because it is certainly not cheap. You get a very, very good return on your investment. It's an amazing school. It seems like it should be an $80,000 school because all the other peer institutions are that cost, but it's half of that, and they're very generous with scholarships. So that's great, especially during these times when people are, losing jobs, getting furloughed. So it's great to have that option. So I know it's been so popular with being on the water, being in such a cool city with internships. So everyone that I've ever had that attended loves the school. So it's great, and it's beautiful too. So thanks, guys, for taking out the time of your day, and I appreciate it and hope that you all have a safe rest of your summer.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Kev.
No worries. Always a pleasure.
Yes, I will try to call you on Monday. Maybe we'll grab lunch because, oh, wait, no, not Monday. I don't work Monday. Tuesday I'm in.
Okay.
Are you working? Are you working Tuesday?
Yeah, I work Mondays and Thursdays.
Tuesday I'm moving back in, but my office moved.
Yeah, I heard. Crazy times.
Yeah, I got a nice big office for you now.
You can talk about that.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you, Emily.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Bye.